Glad you stuck around. The Oscars are less than a month away, and here at The Real Deal, we are very excited to see who will win.
Eli Ralston and Julie Ricci are here to give us their weekly Oscar preview. Take it away, guys.
The Oscars are in 2 weeks, and this week we're going to cover the nominations for Best Actor and Best Actress in a Leading Role.
Let's start with the actresses.
First up is Jessica Chastain for Zero Dark 30. I felt that her performance was the best out of the group. Her portrayal of a woman hell-bent on capturing bin Laden is fantastic. Frankly, she was a badass, and usually that doesn't work with a female role, but she plays this part perfectly.
Up next is Quvenzhané Wallis for Beasts of the Southern Wild. I think I said that right. Her name is quite a mouthful for such a little girl. At age 9, she's the youngest Best Actress nominee in Oscar history. A lot of child actors tend to overact, but Quvenzhané doesn't. She gives a great performance and shows a good range of emotion, but because she's so young, it's hard for me to tell if she's just good at taking direction. If that's the case, major props to the director.
Now we have Emmanuelle Riva for Amour. We have another record in this category because she's the oldest Best Actress nominee ever at 86 years old. Amour hasn't had a nationwide release in the US, so we haven't seen it. They really need to get on that. Same goes for Naomi Watts in The Impossible. We haven't seen that movie, but her performance looks intense though.
Last but not least is Jennifer Lawrence for Silver Linings Playbook. She gives a wonderful performance as Tiffany, a woman who has mental problems. J-Law really shines in this film. She's very engaging, shows a ton of emotional range, and practically steals every scene she's in. I think she'll be taking home her first Oscar this year.
Now let's move on to Best Actor. As great as all these other performances were, Daniel Day-Lewis basically has this in the bag. But just to be fair, we'll talk about the other nominees too.
Let's start with Bradley Cooper. He's wonderful in Silver Linings Playbook as Pat, a guy who has bipolar disorder. His manic episodes are very realistic, and he had just the right amount of panic and stress. I was really surprised by and enjoyed his performance, and I would love to see him win an Oscar, but I think this year he'll have to be a close second.
Next up, we have Hugh Jackman for Les Mis. Aside from his great singing voice, Hugh Jackman conveys every single emotion needed for this role. Just like Jean Dujardin showing emotion with a silent film, Jackman had to sing and act and convey emotion at the same time. He's really stepped up to this task.
Up next is Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln. Daniel Day-Lewis is known for going all out for his roles, and playing our 16th president was no different. I was amazed by his performance. It was like watching the real Lincoln. Lewis's portrayal was full of heart and shows a more intimate side of Lincoln. You get to see the president as a human being with hopes and faults like the rest of us, and Daniel Day-Lewis perfectly captures that. He definitely deserves to win, so he's my pick for the Oscar.
Joaquin Phoenix and Denzel Washington are also nominated for The Master and Flight, respectively. Sorry guys, we haven't seen your movies, so we shouldn't talk about your performances. But you're probably going to lose to Daniel Day-Lewis, so why does it matter?
That's it for this week's Oscar predictions.
Don't forget to tune in next week when we talk about Best Director and Best Picture.
And be sure to watch the Oscars on February 24th.
Thanks, guys. It looks like it's time for our last break. When we come back, we'll have the latest edition of Under the Radar.
Like a normal human, what do you think that is?
Nothing can stop Scorch Supernova. Whoa! That was amazing!
For the ultimate family escape.
I'm gonna miss this place.
Fly, blue buddy, fly!
Escape from planet Earth.
I love you, but I can't let you go. There's no safer place for you than here with me.
Welcome back. Looking for a new television show to catch your interest? Aidan Hall is here with a new show that he found in Under the Radar. Aidan?
Thanks, guys. When people hear HBO, they automatically jump to series like Game of Thrones or even Sex and the City. But to me, there needs to be another show on everyone's minds. And that show, dear viewers, is The Newsroom. Yes, the Newsroom by Aaron Sorkin of West Wing fame tells the story of a newsroom during critical events in recent American history, such as the BP oil spill and the race for the presidency. The show is both comedic and uplifting at times, and I personally haven't seen such human characters in a program in a long time. You find yourself feeling for the characters, and before you know it, you wish you could tune in again. The series stars Jeff Daniels as Will McAvoy, a news anchor who must fight his inner demons and move on from his past as a tabloid reporter to bring people the real news. The series also stars Olivia Munn, Sam Waterston of Law & Order, and even Jane Fonda as the CEO of the News Corporation. The series is amazingly scripted, and I found myself actually going and rewatching the first 10 minutes of the first episode to inspire myself to get through the day. The series has been signed on for another season, which will premiere in June of this year. While this series isn't for everyone, I know we can all learn a bit from it, and hopefully this series will inspire you as it does me. I'm Aidan Hall, and this has been Under the Radar.
Thanks, Aidan. Can't wait to look into this show. It sounds great.
I completely agree, but now it's time to wrap things up with our final word. After you, Kaylee.
Well, the mid-season premiere of The Walking Dead aired on AMC on Sunday. The finale had left us hanging on an intense cliffhanger, so I expected the mid-season opening to be full of action with the governor and Rick facing off in a battle of epic proportions. Well, maybe not that drastic, but this premiere was a little lackluster for me. There was only 5 minutes of action in the opening, and the rest of the episode was dealing with the aftermath of what happened at Woodbury and the group losing Daryl to his brother. Now, that was fine and all, but I just expected something more. There's one thing that really bothered me in this episode. Did anyone else find it weird that no one in Woodbury was freaking out when zombies managed to get through the walls? I mean, the crowd's reaction when they watched a zombie biting one of the residents was absolutely pitiful. Instead of worrying about their deranged, sadistic governor, they should have gotten their priorities straight. Now, shifting gears to focus on Rick for a minute, that poor man really needs a long nap. The exhaustion is making him crazy. His mental breakdown was the best part of the episode. Waving his gun over his head and screaming at, quote, Lori's ghost in front of everyone showed just how broken down Rick is. And I don't think being around his baby is helping matters on the Lori front. Although the opening episode wasn't as intense or crazy as I had hoped, it provided good stepping stones for what promises to be an eventful second half of Season 3. So catch The Walking Dead every Sunday night on AMC.
For my final word, I want to yet again talk about Star Wars. But this time, J.J. Abrams is my point of interest. Recently, Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed the development of various character-oriented spin-offs in the Star Wars universe. Rumored subjects include Han Solo, Boba Fett, and the legendary Jedi Master Yoda. Usually spin-offs such as these would cause me to bury my head in my hands, but I just can't help but smile at the thought of a feature film dedicated to that little incredible green puppet. While according to Frank Oz, who has expressed interest in this project, he does not expect to bring Yoda back to his animatronic roots. Either way, Yoda is awesome, so a movie about him should be awesome. As much as I love Han Solo, I have my doubts as to who honestly could pull off a young Harrison Ford if they did an origin story. Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford, and nobody else will ever be Harrison Ford. Period. However, another exciting development includes Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford himself expressing interest to be involved in the new series installments. Whether you love it or hate it, a lot of Star Wars is going to be coming your way in the coming years.
Well, that's it for this week. Be sure to check out our Twitter and Facebook pages for updates on all things entertainment. Until next time, I'm Kaylee Russell.
And I'm Andrew Bennett. See you next week.